We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast.
All right, here it is. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, season 2, episode 31, presented to you by, as always, Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go, sports bar. And of course, Brandon Carnes here, Justin Feldkamp. We told you last week we got a special guest coming for baseball season. We've got Adam Furness. You don't know who Adam Furness is? I got some credentials for you, all right? .390 the batting average senior year at Bowling Green. Went on to play at BGSU after winning an NLL title, that is. Started 52 games during his senior year, not to mention all-MAC defensive team during his junior season. Thanks for joining us, Adam.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, absolutely. All right, guys, you have spent plenty of time at ballparks collectively. Now during baseball season, I want to know if you have a favorite ballpark you've either played in, attended a game at. Adam, you're the guest. You can join one first.
Yeah, I have to stay local here in Toledo, Fifth Third Field.
Yep, can't go wrong.
Yeah, we play one game a year every there in the BGUT series, and the energy in that series, let alone playing in that park, is pretty amazing. So definitely say Fifth Third.
Adam unwittingly teasing. That's this week.
Yeah, besides BG, what's your favorite stadium in the MAC?
I like, besides Stellar Field.
Yes.
Let the man be a homer.
Probably Kent State.
Okay.
I like playing there. It's a nice stadium. Ball kind of flies there too. So obviously as a hitter,
yeah,
nice playing there.
Always a good feeling. Justin, you got a favorite ballpark?
Yeah, I'll go a couple because I never like to answer Brandon Carnes' questions correctly.
Or directly.
Great American Ballpark, Cincinnati native. I really like that vicinity downtown Cincinnati, and a lot of stuff as a family guy for kids, just all kinds of different activities. Not a bad seat in the place. Wrigley Field is pretty sweet just for the atmosphere and the history. And then as a player, my senior year, I got to play at Bill Davis Stadium, Ohio State's home stadium, as a part of a All-Ohio postseason type of event. So when you're a high school kid playing at a college campus in the Big Ten, kind of a cool experience.
Yeah, Fifth Third Field obviously would have been my go-to. Adam stole my thunder. That's all right. He's our guest. Well, it's okay with that. All right, coming up this week, though, we've got our clip of the week brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. And just like last week, on the baseball side now, we're going to take a look at all of our area conferences and divisions, look at the teams to watch, the players to watch, and so on. And if you want to watch brand new episodes of the BCSN Nation podcast, they're right here every Wednesday at 4 p.m. on BCSN or anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, or hit the follow button on all of our social media pages at BCSN Sports, Twitter, Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok. We are all of them. Hit the follow button anywhere you go. And we're going to start today's show with the big one, the NLL, the Buckeye and Cardinal, obviously the realignment we've talked about in all of our sports. We'll start on the Buckeye side of things, where it is a race between a lot of really good teams that are having really good beginnings to this season, Justin.
Northview is the cream of the crop as of right now, just based on the state rankings that I got in front of me. The latest ones that came out earlier this week, Northview ranked 9th in the state. And I think after taking down Perrysburg not once but twice on Monday, Tuesday. And I like this setup, and we'll get into this a little bit, and the fact that they're playing same team, back-to-back to make it more like a college series where you can't just throw your number one and then 3 weeks or 4 weeks later when you play that same team, you throw that number one again. It's a little more similar to college where you got to play a 2-game series so you can pitch a number one and then a number two, and it kind of give you a better sense of an overall team from the top of the bottom, top to bottom of the roster. But yeah, Northview's been great. They got a pitcher named Vin Bentley who's going to be playing at UT next year, and they have done what they've needed to do, and in sometimes in convincing fashion against Perrysburg in one of the times. But I think that they have top-of-the-line pitchers. That's clear cut, and as Adam will tell you, that matters a lot in high school baseball. And then they do have a young batting lineup, but I think a number of them have gotten some good reps previously and some spot opportunities last year, and they're coming through big time so far in the early going this year.
All right, so we know about the Buckeye there. Is there a Cardinal team that you think stands out? Obviously, your BG Bobcats, 6-4 to start the season, 12 seniors on the roster. That's huge for a baseball team to have that senior leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. Having guys that you can rely on and stuff like that definitely really helps. I think when looking at the Cardinal division, you do look at Clay.
Yes.
They're projected champs there. You have guys like Vinny Gallagher and CJ Boudreau, where Justin was talking about kind of having that 1-2 on the pitching staff there is super important. Obviously, Vinny going to Eastern, CJ going to BG. Looking for CJ to have a nice bounce back year this year. And I'm looking at, the Clay and even Southview, they split with Bowling Green this week. So yeah, both of those teams kind of headline the Cardinal for me.
Yeah, you're in good space when your 1-2 punch is Division I prospects. Not too bad. The team, I think, is surprising a lot of us so far is Whitmer. They start the season 7-1. First-year head coach Mark Rabbit. Shout out to Mr. Rabbit, one of my favorite people and teachers I've ever had in my life. 7-1 start the season. Lost and split with Perrysburg last week. Got no hit by Parker Ferris, who had a heck of a game after Whitmer had 11 runs in the 5th inning, I think, last week in their game. So a lot of fun in the NLL this year, especially the Buckeye, highly competitive. A lot of really, really good teams on that side. We're going to stay. I closed with Whitmer on the baseball side. We'll stay with them for our top 20 athletes of the BCSN era. We're staying on the female side this week, and we're going with the Panthers with Savannah Isaac. You've heard us talk about Savannah once or twice or a lot of times over the last 4 years on BCSN for very good reason. A 4-time Ohio State champion on the women's side, the first in the Toledo area ever to do so. Undefeated high school record, 83-0. She was the first ever girl to win the junior high conference while she was in junior high. Shout out for that. A 3-time Fargo national champion, looking for a 4th hopefully this summer, and a member of the Ohio national team. And then she is moving to Life University after this, one of the top programs. They just finished 2nd in the NAIA in wrestling this season. A all-time athlete, male or female side, is Savannah Isaac here in Northwest Ohio.
Yeah, she's been dominant, I think is the word that I like to use to describe her. She's just been fantastic on the mats, and you mentioned going to the NAIA school, and we've seen the development and the progress that women's soccer and women's basketball has made in the last 5-10 years, especially in the last 2 years, I would say. I'm curious to see with the influx of the amount of female wrestlers at the high school level. It's pretty prominent here in Northwest Ohio.
Growing sport in America.
Yeah, so to see that, you might see future Savannah Isaacs not going to an NAIA school, but going to a MAC school or a Big Ten school or something like that, where an upstart grassroots level at the Division I college level opened up some doors for the Savannah Isaacs and other talented female wrestlers. But what she has done in her time at Whitmer is just astounding, very, very deserving of being on our top 20 female list.
Number 2 ranked in her weight class in the nation behind Sabrina Noss, a wrestler up in Michigan. And Savannah had offers from everywhere in the country. She had phone calls from Iowa, and she chose Life University, where she felt comfortable, the coaches that she really vibed with. She's going to head there. They finished 2nd, like I mentioned, in the NAIA last season. Savannah Isaac, one of our top 20 female athletes of the BCSN era, presented to you by First Solar. Our 20-year anniversary is. And we're going to come back to you guys with a look at the TAAC right after a 30-second little bit from our sponsors over at B-Dubs.
Saved me so much cash, I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. I want to go back. Go! Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
All right, we are back. Pull your chute and enjoy the view. It's time for Taction. Ottawa Hills, Stritch, Toledo Christian. Really the top 3 teams, it seems. Toledo Christian, the TAAC champions last year, dethroned Ottawa Hills, who'd been on a run. They're looking to get that back. But O'Hills, D3 state semi-run last year, so they've got the experience. Stritch off to a really good start, 4-1. I lost to Ottawa Hills last night. We'll talk a little bit more about when we get to our game of the week. How do you see the TAAC shaking out, though, Adam?
Yeah, I think when looking at the TAAC, you do see those top 2, Ottawa Hills and Stritch. I think looking at Ottawa Hills, you mentioned having that D3 semifinal run is really important. Yeah, they do only return 3 starters, but I think having guys that have been there is really, really important. But then again, looking at Stritch too, having 11 seniors on that team, 7 starters, you have guys like 𝗏𝗏, Nate Bennett. 𝗏𝗏, our shortstop, only 1 error last year. I think is having a defense like that and being able to rely on guys like that is really important. So I do think I see Stritch kind of competing for that TAAC title and definitely making a run.
Yeah, Coach Mike McGee has done a great job. They had 20 wins last year. It's hard to score.
History.
It's hard to win 20 games at the high school level. You just don't play a large volume of games to get to that 20 win mark. Hats off to them. Coach Chris Hardman at Ottawa Hills has 700 career coaching victories, and I really think that 700 number would have come a lot sooner if he would have scheduled like a lot of other high school coaches schedule. but he coaches to prepare his team for the postseason as a smaller Division III, Division IV school over the course of his 44 years there. He has scheduled the big boys. He's challenged his team borderline straight up, knowing that when he schedules them that they will lose.
Right.
But they're gaining that experience, seeing faster pitchers, seeing more premier arms, seeing talented bats for his pitchers to go up against. So when you see their ace pitcher go with a 5-4 record, it's for darn good reason, because they're taking on the Anthony Waynes, the Central Catholics, the other NLL schools throughout the course of time. But you talk about their players been there, done that to get to the States and get to Akron. The coaching staff has been there, done that. And we've seen some challenging victories for them already. The 700 win mark came against Whiteford in a 10-inning game in a walk-off hit by pitch.
Yeah,
and it was 2-1, I believe. So you talk about a pitching battle through 10 innings. And Sebastian Stevens is a pitcher that I like from Ottawa Hills. He had that big game experience from last year at the district, regional, state level. And when you bring back a lefty, a guy who's a workhorse who can absorb some innings for you guys, that's the type of guy that I want on my team.
I think the really cool thing, returning to varsity action for the first time after the last 2 years, is Emmanuel Christian. They played predominantly a JV schedule the last couple of years. Numbers were down, didn't have the ability to play these higher level competition. So how do you, as a coach at Emmanuel, step in and keep these guys heads up if they played now a varsity schedule? It's going to be a lot different for them.
Yeah, I think the team, or the point for them right now is just to focus on that rebuild. I think coming from a junior varsity up to the varsity schedule, you're going to have a lot of guys on your teams that are excited, ready to be back there and ready to kind of help rebuild this thing. So I think that's kind of what they're going to lean on and kind of the attitude they're going to take towards this season.
A lot of fun going on in the TAAC. We'll talk more about some TAACtion in our game of the week coming up later in the show. Plenty to talk about, though, as we slide over to our clip of the week that is brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. All right, we're staying with the baseball diamond. We're hopping up to the collegiate level for our clip of the week this week. Garrett Pike, you've heard his name plenty. You've heard the Pike name plenty, especially here on the BCSN Nation podcast, whether that's football, basketball, now with the baseball diamond. 3 homers for Garrett Pike last weekend in one game against Kent State. Had himself a day in the Rockets win. They won both games of the doubleheader. In this one, though, Pike, 5 for 5, 4 runs, 5 RBI. He's already been named MAC Player of the Week. He's having a crazy season, is Garrett Pike.
Yeah, I love the powder blue unis right there.
Oh, yeah.
Smoother swing, smoother lefty swing. Garrett Pike or Adam Furnace?
Uh-oh. You're being called out.
Oh, man, he's got a good one. And from a lefty to a lefty, Adam, I think you could admire what he's been able to do.
Absolutely.
Just on Tuesday night down at Fifth Third Field, UT took on Michigan. He hits the ball hard. It's what I tell my 12-year-old and first grade team. Just hit the ball hard. Baseball is not a guarantee to get a hit. You can hit it hard and right at somebody, but that's okay. Go hit the ball hard, and that's what Garrett Pike does consistently. A hard ground ball or line drive to the second baseman was an out in his first at-bat against Michigan, but then shot to the wall, shot to the gap in his future at-bats. They came up short 6-4, but what he's been able to do has been astounding. We're talking about the top 20 male and female athletes of the BCSN era. 5 years from now, when we're doing a top 25, I think Garrett Pike has a good chance to be one of those 5 additions to our existing 20.
Yeah, you talked about the loss. He also had 3 RBI in that one. Garrett Pike, 4 different games this season. He's had multiple home runs as a hitter at the collegiate level, especially. What does it feel like to just feel that confident in your swing, no matter who you're going up against?
Yeah, it's incredible. He does a great job of keeping things short and sweet, like Justin said, kind of just focus on hitting the ball hard rather than anything else. I mean, slashing 352 with 14 home runs, especially with still 5 MAC series to go is really, really incredible. I think it just kind of shows, too, the talent level we do have in this area. And I think Toledo and Bowling Green have both done a great job. Both coaching staffs have done a great job of making sure to recruit this area well.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. And I think Garrett's doing a great job.
Yeah, very evident in the college prospects we have at the high school level right now coming out. A lot of them going to Toledo, going to Bowling Green. Speaking of Bowling Green, Falcons off to a crazy start in MAC play, undefeated.
Yeah.
Feel good watching your Falcons play baseball right now, huh?
It's pretty awesome. they're playing with a lot of confidence, like you said, and they're doing something really special, breaking a lot of records. And I mean, they're sitting at first in the MAC right now. Toledo's sitting in there at second or third, and I think that series toward the end of the year, being at Fifth Third as well, is going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, at the end of the year. I mean, I was just talking. I was at Fifth Third Field on Tuesday night, and everything could be on the line in that Falcons Rocket series. And at the very least, it appears that something's going to be on the line in regards to seeding for the MAC tournament. That, remind our viewers and listeners, expands to 6 teams once again. Remember, it was 4 coming out of COVID. They made the adjustment back out to 6, so more teams have a chance to get a slice of the pie and possibly earn that automatic berth to the NCAA tournament. But yeah, I love when the 2 teams are at the top and both of them are looking very, very good. And just like Adam said, because of the homegrown talent filling both rosters and both pitching mounds.
Yeah, as if battling for the trophy for I-75 wasn't enough, the rivalry there. You're going to add top of the MAC action to that. Our clip of the week this week, as always, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. You want more clips just like this one, head over to our TikTok at BCSN Sports. Clips all the time. Help us get to 10,000 followers. We're inching ever closer, and we're going to slide from our clip of the week to the City League. The top teams in the area, of course, start Bowsher, Lima Senior. We've talked about it in every sport, making the transition to the City League, which seems like it'll be another really good transition for them in the level of competition, especially baseball-wise. But the story of the City League, like it was for softball, is can anybody start? I always love saying stop, start, or the start-wait matchup. That's my favorite thing about the City League. 11 straight is what the Spartans are shooting for in the City League. That you want to talk about dominance for Savannah Isaac, dominance for the Start Spartans on the baseball diamond.
Yeah, and third-year coach Dan Weiss, he's continued that tradition,
Right.
So he has a chance to add to that existing from when he took over. And their players, Jalen Brown and Bryce Creasy, are 2 guys that I look to that have been there, done that last year as underclassmen coming up through the ranks. And it's always important for you to continue to develop, if you're having a program from year to year to year, to have those guys who are in a role that might not have been, the top hitter, the top pitcher, but they played a key role, and then now they evolve and grow into it, improve, and now they're the guy or one of the guys, and I think that those are 2 of them there. For Bowsher, 4th-year coach Ken Baum, he says that they lack pitching depth. They only had 31 innings returning from last year to this year, so just that statistic right there leads you to think that they're going to have some growing pains as they try to develop some younger arms. We got start at Bowsher tonight.
Yep.
Weather permitting, we got a storm coming through. We'll see on Wednesday night. Then they play again on May 6th. And then also within the City League tonight on BCSN plus app, we got Woodward at Rogers at 5 o'clock again, weather permitting. But yeah, start is the cream of the crop. But I do like what some of the other coaches in the City League are doing to kind of creep up. Like start's the example. Now the other team's got to look at that and say, all right, how can we approach and how can we build to take them down?
Yeah, for Bowsher now, if you're looking at this team that's won a decade's worth of City League titles, Adam, how are you talking to your team? How are you coaching them up? Or how do you talk about, hey, we can dethrone these guys? We've got the players this year to do so. Yeah,
absolutely. I think one main thing about Bowsher, like Justin said, is those 31 innings pitched. I think only returning that is going to be a little bit of a struggle for them, but they do have a guy like Rory McCrandle, hit 500 last year. Being able to lean on him and 6 seniors that they do have on this team, I think is going to be really important for them going throughout the season.
Especially if it can happen tonight. We're excited for a top of the City League battle. Bowsher off to a 5-2 start at a 3-4 kick to the season. So maybe not the start that you want for start. I'm saying start too much. It's starting to lose meaning. I'm freaking out over here. Bowsher hopefully can take on the Spartans tonight, start to dethrone the top of the City League. Lima Senior, of course, joining the league, hoping to level what was kind of an uneven playing field for them in the track the last few years, Justin.
Yeah, and I think that it'll be a good opportunity for them. In the last few years, their coach has really gotten around that set of Spartans south of Toledo. And I think, just like you said, with the balancing, I think Lima Senior boys basketball was a little different from all the other sports just because of longtime coach Quincy Simpson and then just the ability and the caliber of talent that they've had on that specific school's team. But with all the other teams, I think they, gravitating a little bit more to a not necessarily like-minded, but a like caliber of talent across all sports within the Toledo City League. And I know that they think in some ways they're the outsider just naturally by geographics of 6 Toledo teams, 1 Lima-based teams. They might think that they're not liked or not wanted, but they're proving that, hey, well, we can compete and we can win. And in my estimation, provide a good barometer for the 6 Toledo area teams to add another one and see how they stack up. And, you're getting, depending on how the season shakes out from sport to sport, you're getting 1 or 2 games each season to be in that same mix.
If we're talking about joining new leagues like Lima Senior is, we've got to talk about the Catholic schools in the area. They're joining the Catholic High School League, obviously up in Detroit. We've talked about them with multiple sports throughout. But you've got St. John's, the 2023 track champions last season. They're going to play Anthony Wayne tonight. St. Francis and Central Catholic. A lot of talent between these teams, a lot of youth, especially on the Central side as well.
Yeah, I reached out to all 3 Catholic high school coaches and just to get who's your top hitter, who's your top pitcher, and a grade. Guess what all of them said? All of them said their grade thus far would be a C. Okay. And I find that interesting just because they all said the exact same thing. They're all in the same basket here of playing for the first time in the new Catholic League. And Central Catholic's got a top hitter, Kyle Wasserman, top pitcher, Preston Friesel. They're playing fairly well, but Coach Jeff Mulcarrick said that they just got a razor-thin margin for error. They don't have the talent yet or the development yet for this year to be able to make a mistake here and there and still win a game. St. John's, Cooper Johnson has done well, hitting .449. Carson Bruning, 1-0 with a 1.00 ERA, 17 Ks through 14 innings. And he told me that that's their surprise player because he's a lefty pitcher who's made himself better in the offseason and competes his tail off and earned the starting spot. And then with St. Francis, Cooper Loginist and pitcher Mana Public have done great for them. And he just thinks, Coach Edgell thinks that they have room for improvement. And that's what I take away from all 3 Catholic teams. Room for improvement across the board.
Yeah, not a lot of returning starters for any of the 3 Catholic teams. 3 for St. John's, 5 for St. Francis, and 3 for Central Catholic. How do you coach and how do you look at the team and help them grow despite not having a lot of returning players from those teams?
Yeah, I think you like we've been saying, you kind of lean on your leaders that you have on that team. One thing I've noticed a lot about these teams, they might be pretty young, but they're all very athletic. I think being able to get around the field, do some small ball things like steal bases, take hits away in the gap, stuff like that, I think will be really important for them. That Catholic League in Michigan is tough. Yeah. They got a lot of college commits up there. I mean, St. Mary's, Brother Rice, teams like that are some really, really skilled teams. So I think being able to rely on your athletes and doing things, like Justin said, keep the margin of error pretty small is important for them.
Yeah, Adam, you say athletic. That's the exact word I have written down here for Central Catholic. And then for St. Francis, I said unproven. They haven't had a long recent run of success. They lost to Findlay 4-3 in the sectional finals last year, so we didn't see them go on a tournament run by any stretch. And then Sam Fisher in his 4th year has a really young team is the word that I would singularly describe them. Last year, they lost to Anthony Wayne in the regional semifinals down at BG's Carter Park. So I'm really curious just from each season, from fall to winter to spring, how this Catholic League impacts those teams' abilities to compete in the regular season and then the postseason.
Yeah, we've seen football and basketball-wise, especially how it prepared them for postseason runs by being battle-tested was our theme at the end of basketball season, especially for all 3 of those Catholic High School League teams. So we'll move from the Catholic High School League into our Game of the Week, brought to you by Dunn Chevy in Oregon. All right, we teased at our top of the TAAC matchup earlier in the show. Cardinal Stritch, Ottawa Hills already played each other last night, a 13-1 win for O Hills. But we've seen teams bounce back. You get a different pitcher. You just feel a little bit different on a different day. This will be tomorrow, 5 p.m. live on the BCSN app or catch it on TV, tape, delay. How does Stritch bounce back from a 13-1 loss? Not like you were 1 or 2 runs off the win. 13-1 is a pretty dominant way to have to bounce back from.
Yeah, I think that's just one of those situations where you just shake it and you got to move on.
Tuesday wasn't our day.
Yeah, yep. There's nothing to do but just try to play your game. And they've got a good team. I mean, they got a great coaching staff. They've got really good players. And I think just being able to stick to their game and stick to what they know will really help them out. Yeah, for Stritch, like we mentioned earlier in the show, with last season, the first time they'd ever hit that 20-win mark in a season, 11 seniors returning 2 all-TAAC selections. But Ottawa Hills, they're the team to beat in the TAAC for a reason.
Yeah, up until in the prep and research for the podcast, I said that this was going to be a good test 25, 30% of the way through the season. But then after that first go-around with Ottawa Hills, dismantling Cardinal Stritch in the early going, I know that Coach Mike McGee would prefer a much better performance from beginning to end. And sometimes you're not necessarily okay with taking a loss. This is varsity level baseball. You're here to win each and every time you take the field. But you want to kind of be able to touch upon something throughout a game that you can say, hey, okay, let's take this and build upon it. Or here's a couple of the mistakes that we made. Let's clean them up in practice tomorrow and then focus and rededicate ourselves and come out with a better performance. But when you lose 13-1, not a whole lot's going right. So you use the word shake it. I like to use the word flush it. Just forget about it. And you just got to know that, hey, believe in your abilities and the confidence that you put in through winter workouts and through the first stretch of this early part of the season, and do better. You figure it out. In baseball, Adam, you could speak to this. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. You run into a great starting pitcher. Someone's locked in, painting the sides of the plate, and it's just a tough day. A bad hop on a ground ball or lose a ball in the sun. Stuff happens all the time in the game of baseball, and sometimes 2-1 or a 3-1 game in the third inning can quickly spiral out of control. And I think that kind of occurred with Ottawa Hills' first go around against Cardinal Stritch.
Yeah, they started the game 6 runs in the first inning. Really tough to recover from that. But if you're looking at back-to-back games and how do you recover from one or the other, I think you look last week at the Perrysburg and Whitmer matchup, right? Whitmer scores 11 runs in one inning, wins 15-5 or 15-6. They come out the next day and Parker Ferris no hits the Panthers. Right, that's baseball in essence, right? A different pitcher on the mound. Guys just don't see the ball the same way coming out of his hand, whatever it might be. That's the pitch I'm giving to Cardinal Stritch right now. Get rid of last night. Look at that matchup just as one easy example, something regional, something local, where game 1 to game 2, completely different matchups for the two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know who's going to be on and who's not. Like Justin said, I think baseball is a game where a Hall of Famer fails 7 times out of 10. So I think just keeping your head on straight, it's such a mental game, and knowing that you can have another day is really, really important thing to focus on.
Well, if you're going to watch our game of the week, like I said, 5 p.m. on the BCSN app, make sure you head over to B-Dubs first. Get yourself a B-Dubs to go order, and they're going to talk to you about why you should do that. About 30 seconds from now, we'll be back.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off traditional wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off traditional wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Chicken wings. Oh, yeah. Upcoming games. Cisco, let me see the graphic. Let's see what's going on Friday at least, and then we'll talk to you about what else is going on throughout the week. All right, you see it up on the screen. Friday, NCAA baseball, Miami, Ohio, at Toledo. We've got Ohio at BGSU, plenty of MAC action. The junior college level, Owens hosting Community Christian College. High school softball, BG and Clay. Oh, not to mention Walleye playoffs. Playoffs?
Yep, we're looking forward to that. The Walleye taking on Kalamazoo, games 1 and 2, Friday and Saturday, downtown at the Huntington Center. We got OU and BG, Adam. My alma mater versus your alma mater. Maybe I have to throw a little wager down on that. But yeah, we love our partnerships with BGSU and Toledo, especially after what we talked about earlier in this podcast. Both baseball teams playing very, very, very well. So yeah, we are looking forward to that. That's a juicy looking lineup there on a Friday night. But also with a minute to go, wanted to mention, said Northview was state ranked. Right. Also Anthony Wayne, 19th. Defiance in Division 2 is 10th. Eastwood, number 1 in the state in D3. Lake in the same NBC, ranked 6th. Those teams play head-to-head on Wednesday night. Liberty Benton also in there. Edison, Otsego, and Elmwood also ranked in Division 3. And lastly, Patrick Henry in Division 4, ranked 7th. So a lot of teams in the area state ranked.
Another one to watch out for Thursday. Softball, Perrysburg, Anthony Wayne, a huge matchup in the Buckeye side of things. Make sure you're right here every Wednesday, 4 p.m. for brand new episodes of the BCSN Nation podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, hit the subscribe button there so you don't miss a new episode. Follow at Justin Feldkamp, at Adam Furness, at Carnes Brandon. We're keeping it simple. It's just our names. Or even better, at BCSN Sports. Anywhere you you can hit the follow button. We'll see you right here next week for softball.